Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Ekoki Otaku. Today with us, we have a very special guest. She voices Becky Blackwell in Spy Family, Lilya Greyrat in Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation, Hina Satou in The Day I Became a God, Linie in Frieren Beyond Journey's End, Chise Hatori in The Ancient Magus Bride, and honestly, the list keeps on going. We're going to talk about much more, so without any further ado, please give it up for Dani Chambers.
Thanks to you for accepting our invitation and joining us tonight. Because you have a big career on a very famous anime character, which I'm excited. I was super cool to dive into your list, getting the backstage set up. I'm like, oh, it's it. So, and I think I run it so today.
I was like reading the list. I was like, dot. We're not gonna finish. We're not gonna finish reading all the characters.
It's a big list. Not as big as some of my other co-workers, but it's a list.
A list is a list, and let's start with the list because let's start with the idol of friendships. There's nothing more valuable than have a great friendship, and you have this special character in the Spy X family, Becky Blackbell. So at this point, I think everybody knows about Spy X family. For those who doesn't know very well Becky, how do you describe Becky?
She is pretty much your rich BFF that has your back. She's like the straight up ride or die friend. So I love how protective she is of Anya. Mind you, she just wants to she has a crush on her dad, so that's already just weird in itself. But just the fact that she wants to take care of Anya, and I love that for her. So that makes me really happy. But I love Becky. She's very sweet, very kind. She really wants to take care of Anya and to be the best friend that she can be to her, to make sure she sticks up for herself.
It's kind of funny you just mentioned the crush in the dad, because I feel like today's day there's a lot of memes or reels or TikTok about having a crush in your friend dad, which I'm like, guys, are we making this normal today? Another.
I hope not. No, I think it's more of just like, when you're a kid, you're like, oh my God, it's like your first crush ever, it's like, oh my God, my teacher's so nice. I can't wait to marry him one day. You're like, okay, all right, Susan, have a nice day. It's fine. It doesn't make sense. She's just a kid and she doesn't know anything. So
But we need to give credit. Lloyd is Lloyd too.
Yes, Lloyd is just Lloyd. Oh God.
I mean, I just imagined him in real life. He's probably like super ripped and everything, and super like suave. So it's like, okay, I understand you.
Oh yeah, it's like I get it, but like you're 7, so calm down.
Yeah, it's so weird.
I mean, at least she has good standard already. So like, great, you're in the right pathway, the right kind of person for your future. Now just wait for your future. Let's keep this a standard.
Yes.
Wait there.
Not old.
Live, enjoy life, definitely.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, was it a challenge to maintain Becky's voice because her tone is kind of high as a child, right?
Not really. I've always done kids' voices like ever since like my career started, so it's not difficult to keep it up. Now I'm not gonna do it for like 6 or 8 hours, mind you, but I think the max amount of hours to record in like a day is like 4. At least with certain characters, but yeah, it's not really that hard for me. And I enjoy doing it. It's really cool, and it's hard to describe how I do it, because it's like my tongue goes back, and then I let all the air, like I constrict my throat to have that teeny tiny voice kind of come out. So it's very hard to describe, and I wish I could like X-ray and show you guys. I can't.
And I'm sure right now I'm here like moving my tongue in the back, like, oh, okay, I'm trying to get learning without going to a real class. But moving on from protective friendship to a protective role of a mother, well, all your characters very well know. Lilya Greyrat in Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation. Again, another series that everybody knows about it. Most of the people, and we spoke of in the past.
Very controversial series.
Very, very.
Okay, let's start with that. Your first reaction when you saw this series first, Mushoku Tensei, when you hear about it?
Without like looking up anything, when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, this looks really cool. It's different. It's an isekai, but it has a very unique take on it. Very, very different. And then when I watched it, I was like, oh, they're doing this. Okay, so when I found out I got cast as Lilya Greyrat, I was like, okay, this is gonna be interesting. Yeah, I mean, it was cool because I don't really get to play with my lower register very much, so it was nice to be able to kind of be like motherly and kind of have what's the word? Kind of have a different type of character to perform, because we recorded that show during the pandemic, so I was in my closet recording that first scene that I'm pretty sure you know with her. That I'm not going to talk about. But yeah, I recorded that during the pandemic, and it was really cool. Got to dive deep into like who she is and why she does what she does and how she comes to love Rudius. So it's really cool. It's just really cool. Really controversial, but a really cool show.
I always talk about the controversy in this series, just because we have a friend who is adamant that he's never gonna watch the series, because when he learned about like the first episode, it was like, oh, I can't do this. And we're like, but it's so good. Like, just get over that fact and keep on watching it, because everything else is like really, really good. Yes, there's a lot of these where you're like, oh my gosh, this happened. But you know what? Again, get over the fact and keep watching it.
Just skip. You can skip.
Just enjoy the series. But talking about ethics, what's right, what's wrong, one of the characters that I'm excited to see that you're the voice of, one of the series that really shocked me years later, still suffering the ending of this series. They're going to be some spoilers, guys, because we need to speak about this spoiler. Talking about Hina in The Day I Became a God.
Oh, that's
cool. For those who haven't seen this series, how would you describe this piece of gold?
Oh God, it's a comedy that turns into a tragedy. If you've watched Clannad, it's the same. Jun Maeda, I think, is the same author. So you're gonna laugh a lot and then you're gonna cry. Hina, I think at the time, was one of my hardest roles because she speaks very old English at first, and so I was like, I never really did Shakespeare growing up, even though I should have, but I didn't really do a lot of it. So it was kind of like, how do I do this all the while fitting in flaps, trying to make sure like the these and thines and thou art, matches with the lip flaps and stuff. But it was a really good show that had a lot of heart in it. And at the end, it just broke me, because I was like, all this confident young girl just stripped away from her individuality was so heartbreaking. And the fact that I don't want to give too much away about what happens, but the fact that she's struggling, it hurts.
The trailer have been years of the release, and those who haven't seen yet, if they haven't seen without spoiler, we need to bring them here somehow. And
yes,
for me,
please watch the Became a God.
I will be honest, I was in shock too. I don't know. I'm a big. I only watch anime in English stuff, and this story, when I started watching it, let's keep it in mind. It was before AI was out there. It was a trend. And we had the story about this girl who comedy, hyper mathematical skill. And I feel like what really hurt about this series is that we got an ending that it is fantasy, but not far from reality, very close to reality.
Yeah.
I'm going to spoil something here. The girl has a brain condition, which is not sci-fi. and the ending, the fact that our main character decided to take care of her, it hurts so bad because we're like, this is no longer fantasy. This is reality at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, also the creator. Go ahead.
No, it's insane because like it's just it's a real thing because of just how far our technology is. Like it wasn't necessarily AI that was used. It was like, I mean, yes and no. It wasn't like controlling her. It was mainly just like
Quantic something. Quantic.
Yeah, it was like something that connected her brain synapses together to make her super super smart, and it came across as like predicting the future and stuff. She's just it's just like, oh, what's that movie? Oh, not Timeless. That movie where they unlock their brain by taking a pill. I can't remember the name, but it's like that. It's like that movie for those who know what I'm talking about. It just unlocked all the synapses in your brain to be able to do all the crazy stuff that you thought you would never be possible.
Watch it, guys. Watch it.
So
Get
good.
ready.
Please.
Limitless.
Mark.
Yes, please.
It was the same creator of Angel Beat. So
Yeah, Angel Beats and Clannad. Yeah.
the same story, roller coaster. We're going to have fun. We're going to enjoy. We're going to cry the hell at the end. Well, we love it at the end. So, cooling down the feelings, slowing down a little bit here. You already have way too much feeling in the past character. One of your very famous characters, one of the latest Crunchyroll big hit in Frieren Beyond Journey's End, you had the character of Linie?
I just say Lenny. She
It is Linie, or is
I think it's Linie, or it's some other type of way to say it. I just say Linie because that's how I remember it. I'm terrible at names. But yeah, Linie is part of. She's only in like 3 episodes, but when Stark, Frieren, and Fern come to rescue, I forgot his name. One of the guys, and she's like a vampire demon who works with Lilya. And they kind of, capture this guy, but also want to take out, Fern, Frieren, and Stark and all that. So she has a one-on-one with Stark. And she has this epic battle because she's like, I learned from the guy that's teaching you. And so now you're going to die. And it's really cool. I think she's really badass for a little girl. And I'm like, yes. I like her. I wish we got to dive more into who she was, but because she's a bad guy, she automatically loses. But yeah, I liked voicing her. She was fun.
But Linie, and guys, my apologies if I'm mispronouncing the name. Linie is a character that she projects so much without being kind of monotonous person because her facial expression doesn't change at all. It's like a cold character, but the way she speaks, it projects fear, grace, being powerful. So how's the experience of giving those elements that they're not physically animated, but go through the voice and through the voice of the character?
Yeah, it's mainly all in the voice. You have to show it's harder to do voiceover, I think, when you come from like a theater or film background because you don't have your face or your body to show the emotion you're feeling. So all you have to do is with your voice. So I do play a lot of monotone characters, and what helps me is that whatever line I'm speaking, I project that emotion that I'm trying to say in the line. So like if she's like, I'm gonna kill you, like if the line is I'm gonna kill you, she's like, I think on the inside she's saying I will murder every single thing that you hold dear. And you kind of like take that emotion and say that into that one line, like I will kill you. So even though it just sounds the same, but you can feel that emotion in there. So you kind of have to work with that. And it's also thanks to the director as well that gives me a lot of direction to go in the way and how I need to say the line. So it's all teamwork and team effort to make sure we get that emotion across.
So now that we speak about technique, how do you made it to the anime voice industry, and where do you get all those skills? Because we already start speaking about technique that it's kind of hard to picture them without being in the industry.
Yeah, so I had an advantage because I grew up doing theater and film and stuff. So I already had that skill to be able to start this. Because when people start now, they don't really have a lot of acting experience. So because of that, I knew how to develop a character, what their likes and dislikes, how to do cold reading, which pretty much anime is. And what cold reading is when you get a script for the first time, you don't know anything about it and you just have to act it. And a lot of people don't realize that, because whenever we get cast as something, we don't see a script. We don't get sent a script. We don't get sent anything. They're just like, you're coming in for 4 hours to record this character. Cool. And then when we go in, that's when we see the script for the first time. So it's up to the director and the engineer to work together with the actor to bring about the best product. So for me, what I do to prep that, I like to look at monologues online. I read like a synopsis. It's like, okay, this seems pretty simple to do. I'll print it out or whatever, and then I won't read it. I'll give myself like 3 minutes to just kind of get ready, and then I'll record it. And then after that, I'll read it again just to, see what the actual context is, and then I'll re-record it and then see the differences and stuff between it. I think that's a good exercise and a good practice too, because you could do that with friends as well. But yeah, it's taking classes helps, whether if it's for anime and video games, or even just practicing with friends, or even just watching shows to kind of like see why they do a read like that. Usually like when people say watch anime for acting tips, I agree with that to an extent, but as long as you're not just watching it, you're actually paying attention to see how the people are doing the reads. Like, how intense did they say this line, or why did they say it like that? So that's usually like what I like to do for prepping and getting stuff ready.
We have been speaking about technique from the beginning, and also some tips like how you make it learning with your friend.
Mm-hmm.
So from COVID changed everything in the industry, changed the world.
It did.
And today's day, it's kind of popular to take class online, sometimes full-time remote. Do you see it is possible to acquire the technique that you have through your experience on a full-time environment or remote?
It's hard to say, because there are some studios that will still record remote, but most of them, at least from my experience right now, they're mainly staying in studio. So you have to go in. So back then it was great because you could be anywhere and record anime. But as of right now, they are moving back in studio, and it's getting a lot harder for a lot of remote talent and like disabled actors to be able to record at home. And it sucks. It really does, because we had a whole lick of like new talent and new voices, and it was awesome to hear. And yeah, just COVID just kind of just messed everything up. And so it's like having to readjust and go back to a normal is difficult. It is difficult. And I feel very terrible for a lot of remote actors, because I love them. I love working with remote actors. And it's been difficult, but I still think it's possible. It's just you got to find the right avenues. At least for anime, I don't want to say it's not possible, but for anime, maybe it's difficult. But I mean, I think commercials that's where the money's at. Commercials are probably, if you want to do full time, that's probably where it's at, because they pay big bucks.
Before we move forward, which one would be that character that you feel like was the one that changed your career, that you learned so much from the experience dubbing this anime character?
Ooh, Chise Hatori from the Ancient Magus Bride. That was my first big role. It was Woo, that was a rough one. Because that show is about a girl who is struggling with life. Like, not to give too much away, but her dad and brother leave the family, and her mom abandons her, and so she's left to fend for herself. And she's what they're called a slay Becky. It has a lot of like Celtic lore and stuff like that. So she sees spirits, and her energy and her blood attract a lot of fae. So she ends up becoming a mage's apprentice, and a whole slew of adventures just happen. But she deals with so much about like keep sacrificing herself for other people, which you think is like, oh no, that's good, but with her, she does it too much because she doesn't feel her life is worthy. And that's the lesson that she's learning, is that she's worthy because people care about her. And I think that is incredibly important because especially in a world with that can be very evil and I can't think of the word, but very bad. It's important to know your self-worth and to know that you are loved, that you are cared about, and that there are people who will go to bat for you. You can't just assume that you're not important. And I know it may seem like that with a lot of people because of their situation, and it sucks, and it really does suck, and I feel terrible. But there are people who do care about you and other people. And you can't let that keep you from moving forward. And I think this show really talks about that. And it touches my heart because it struggles with a lot of stuff. I will say, if you watch it, just trigger warning, a lot of heavy, sensitive material. So nothing like shocking, but just like a lot of blood and gore and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's
more in the conversations too.
Yes.
Six are in the conversation and the emotions rather than graphically showing it.
Mm-hmm. It's hard conversations to have with people, like with your friends. It's like, I want you to stop always sacrificing yourself for me. It's like, but I love you. It's like, I love you too, but I still want you here. I can't do anything if you're not here. So, but yeah, I think that one's near and dear to my heart. And it was my first lead role ever. As well, so I think it was a very rough but a wonderful role to start with.
And there's so many characters that they have meanings in that series. It was a shock because the beauty in the magic and in the fairy tale, which is combined with darkness from the story, with the point of sharing what you see in the character, the main character, which I can't pronounce his name right now.
Elias?
Think.
Yeah.
That's a character that really make me in love because he even doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know his past. But for some reason, he teach a lot about life, even that he doesn't know his origin. He doesn't know what he is. So, yeah, a beautiful series that you haven't watched it yet. And you sit down, you go chill down, series, but chill out, but you might be overwhelmed of feeling, and you might go to bed thinking about life like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll make you think. It'll definitely make you think.
I do say that it is a very weird mix of emotions in that series because it is I'd say it's very laid back and very subtle in terms of like action, but at the same time it's very heavy. So it's like, oh, this is such a pretty series, and then it's like, oh wait, what the heck? Or you talking about okay. It's interesting.
They get you every time with that, and you're like, oh, okay.
But another series that will not have you thinking, because you don't need to think too much for this one. Talking about Chise, Hatori in Tori. My bad, guys. Suzu, that one Hatori. Suzu Taniguchi in Arifureta from Commonplace to World's Strongest.
Yeah, that show, you can't ask me about that one. That one is that show is very interesting to me. I have not watched it. I have not seen it. It's been a minute since I've done it. Yeah, that one's just insane.
I'm watching it now because there's so many friends in the dub acting world that they're like, "Hey, I'm in season 3. I'm in season 3." Like, okay, I need to watch it, and I just playing during it is like my last anime series of the day, so I can just chill, cool down from work because you don't need to overthink it. Just enjoy what you're watching here, the comedy,
Yeah, this was
old
fun.
character, how you call it? Not the slice of life, the spicy thing. Oh, God.
What?
The spicy thing, the sexy. How you call that? Oh,
Not
I'm looking out.
edgy.
No, and etchy.
Eki. Oh, no, I can't remember.
Etchy. Let's call it the etchy element. Well, very well introduced over there. Which many times gotta fall asleep, and I'm like, what am I watching here? Let me record it, and then send it to her to WhatsApp. When she wake up, she's like, what the hell were you watching last night? And I'm like, Arifureta. Don't ask.
Oh no. Sometimes I will. I'd say sometimes I will wake up and I'm like, what's going on? What is this? And then he's like, it's Arifureta. I'm like, okay, let me go back to sleep again. And then okay, I'll watch it again. I'm like, okay, this series is it is not safe for work for sure.
It is very, not safe for work.
Whew.
But leaving the ecchi behind, going to more heartwarming, talking about Hotaru Hinase in a condition called love. For the parents in this series, how would you describe it?
Very cute, very sweet. I personally have some gripes with how they handled it, but it can still be a cute story. It's about a girl who doesn't really know what love is. She's never really experienced it, and then there's a guy who thinks he knows what love is, but he doesn't. So she's leaning on him to teach her what love is. It's not like gross or anything like that, but he does a lot of these things for her, and she's also like, oh, is this what I do? Is this how I do it? And they kind of help each other grow in love. And it is pretty difficult because it's like trying to explain to someone an emotion who's never experienced it. You're like, how does joy feel? You're like, you just feel happy. It's like it's hard to explain that to somebody. So with them, they're learning each other's boundaries. They're learning like what they like and what they don't like, and if this love is actually real. So it's really important. I think it's cute and sweet. I just think some things need to be reworked because he does like, I think if you put like horror music behind it, but because of the way what's his name? I forgot his name. The main guy's name or character is, it kind of comes across as like this is a horror show. But I think if you kind of like look past that, and I'll say look past it, but you kind of just like see how they're both struggling, I think it'll be a good like romance anime.
I'm laughing here because yes, it can. If you have the wrong background music, you can just have a red flag over there, like, "Hey, this guy, very
Like,
pop."
no, don't do it, no.
But because we know the good intention behind the guy heart, which it's kind of great to watch. So like, great, you're in the same situation, guys. So keep in mind, this is how you might look, even they had good intention.
Yeah, I will say, like, I appreciated like when people were watching it and the comments were still on Crunchyroll, people were like, oh, this dude's a red flag. Like, I'm grateful that they have noticed the red flags. I'm like, good, I'm glad you guys are aware. That's great. You have to remember, this is anime, it's not real. So don't do what he does, but just enjoy the story, see if he changes, see if anything changes, then you're good.
Or at least now you see how you might look. Like, I just crossed my mind, one of those famous quotes, the road to hell is made of good intentions.
Yep.
So he had made a good intention, but then he was going down to hell many times.
Yeah.
But to wrap it up, one a character, a sweet character that everybody wants to be her sister-in-law. Even I want to be her brother-in-law. Talking about Raiha Uesugi
Well,
in the Quintessential Quintuplets.
Yes, the Quintessential Quintuplets. I love Raiha. She's so funny because she's like, come on, bro, marry them so we can get out of poverty. And it's just, it's like she's just trying to pimp her brother out to one of these girls, and she has no shame about it, and it just cracks me up. But she is a caring little sister, and I appreciate her valiant effort for her brother. So yeah, it's pretty funny. I love Raiha, and I'm glad she's helping her brother out get that confidence he needs. So
I was so I'm a big fan of the Center Quintuplet. Don't worry.
sorry.
Don't worry, I'll remove that. So I'm a big fan of Quintessential Quintuplet, and I have to confess, I was so excited to see her every time they show her like in the wedding day, getting ready. Like, it's happening.
I was like,
Let me ask you. We know the finale, meaning you haven't seen the studio, probably you have seen the memes on the internet, so probably you know who's the big winner.
I do, yeah.
Did you see that one coming?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Because I feel like it was a trope that always wins, I guess. I don't want to spoil it because I know some people haven't seen it yet, but
It's out there. I'll be prepared for you. It was me, Josuba win. I spoiled. What's that? It was me. We need to fan about this.
because ever since that scene where she has him on her lap when she's looking at him, it's like that was when she showed how much in love she was with him. And because of that, after that, she didn't really obsess over him as much as the other girls did. So I was like, oh no, she was the girl from the childhood. So that I was like, that just gave it away. So I was like, yeah, no, it's Yotsuba. Because she's a cute, bubbly one who's always positive, who's never struggling. So it's just, golly, yeah.
I had to. I was Team Miku, by the way, but I'm happy with the finale.
Miku is,
And let me
yeah.
And we got the major spoiler in season 1, and we didn't see it when that scene when Josuba, she's like, oh God, she's like, Ryan, you're so cute. Wait, you know what? I'm going to marry your brother. I'm going to make you my sister-in-law. And then we're like, wait, she said in season 1, she committed to that, and she really married the brother and make her sister-in-law. So that's something that we, the fans, we like.
They said the answer right in front of our face.
From season 1 over there. But Dani, thank you so much. I've been a great time to fan about all your characters. For those who are considering the voice actor career, or just for the fans, any words of advice you would like to share?
Yeah. If there's any career or hobby or pathway you wanna do, just make sure you just have fun with it at first. You know, don't try to. I know it's easier said than done, but don't try to make money off of it right away. Just enjoy it. See if you like it, and you know, do your research before you get into anything, because you don't want to spend all that money if it's something you know you're not able to do in the end. So just have fun with it. See if you like it. Play around with it. Play with friends, and yeah.
Awesome. For those who haven't followed you yet, which social media can they follow you?
Yeah, you can follow me everywhere at SkinnyMini07. That's SKINIMINI.
I had to confess, this is the first time I get so unique username in social media.
Well, I mean, I've had that ever since I made my Twitter, in 2013. I was like, I don't want to change it. I'm too lazy. I was like, I'm not going to put my name.
Like, maybe the only one that really surprised me a little bit was the first one that came across my mind was Natalie Rial. She like, keep it real, Natalie.
Yeah.
I was waiting like Dani VA, and I'm like, I can't wait, hold it. So, if you were surprised by Dani username on social media, don't worry, don't panic. You don't need to go back forward. Don't click 10 minutes behind. Just go down to the description of the video, expand the description, and right there you're going to find Dani's link to the social media. You're going to find me in the website. And because we met over there, we invite you, humbly ask you, we beg you, we command you at this point, and who knows going to be the next. Please subscribe to our social media, to YouTube especially, you please hit the like, subscribe, share, and also you can follow us in the social media like Facebook for news, Twitter for controversial or sharing job with our friends and the voice actor, TikTok for real music openings and sneak peek, Street Air of Street. Everything. So Dani, thank you so much for everything, for joining us tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me, y'all. It's been a pleasure.
And we will see you guys in the next episode. Sayonara.